Another crazy weekend, a lot to talk about. Let's get right into it. Getting straight into it, on Wednesday, App State beat Georgia State 42-17. On Thursday, we had two games. Virginia beat Georgia Tech 16-9. Troy beat South Alabama 10-6. On Friday, another two games. Tulsa beat Temple 27-16. Western Kentucky beat UAB 20-17. Then the heavy day on Saturday. Tennessee rolled through UT Martin. Kind of saw that one coming. Baylor beat Kansas 35-23. Ohio State smashed Iowa 54-10. But one game I was watching to start the day was Syracuse at Clemson. Now I know there's a lot of people that don't know what to make of Clemson, but they're 8-0. And I think it starts with Will Shipley. If they don't have him, I don't think they're 8-0. On the day, he had 27 carries, 172 yards, 6.4 average, 2 touchdowns. Phil Maffa also had a nice day. 18 carries, 94 yards, 5.2 average. DJU didn't have a great day. He went 13-21, 138 yards, 2 interceptions. Kate Klubnik did play a little bit. He went 2 of 4 for 19 yards. This game was extremely close, but if you look at the team stats, it honestly doesn't make any sense. Clemson had 450 total yards compared to Syracuse 291. Passing yards were about even, 167 for Syracuse, 157 for Clemson. Rushing yards, 124 for Syracuse, and then 293 yards for Clemson. Yards per play, 5.4, Syracuse, 5.3, Clemson. Then looking at first down, 27 for Clemson, 17 Syracuse, 3 of 11 for Syracuse on third down efficiency, 5 of 15 for Clemson. Total plays, Clemson had 85, Syracuse had 54. Punts, 7 for Syracuse, 2 for Clemson. Syracuse could have won this game. Syracuse defense played well enough to win this game. They had 4 turnovers, 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles. Syracuse offense just didn't do enough. Garrett Schrader had a nice day, 18 of 26, 167, a touchdown and an interception. But when Sean Tucker, your best back, your best player offensively, possibly, I would argue, gets the ball only 5 times for 54 yards, he needs to get the ball at least 20. But I understand why some people are very skeptical of Clemson. Offensively, sometimes they're a mess, at least with, the quarterback position. DJ has looked good at times, and then, against Syracuse, not so great. But one of the most consistent things about this offense has been Will Shipley. He reminds me a lot of Travis Etienne, because Travis Etienne did a lot for this offense when he was at Clemson, and now it looks like Will Shipley's becoming that same role player that Travis was. But if you take Will Shipley out of this offense, I just don't see a lot of good in it. Good win for Clemson. They got a bye this week, and then after they got Notre Dame. Then they have Louisville, Miami, and South Carolina to finish. Cincinnati beat SMU 29-27. Duke beat Miami 45-21. Kind of surprising. Notre Dame showed up against UNLV 44-21. Notre Dame, weird team. Losses to Marshall and Stanford, 2 terrible teams. But beat BYU and then held Ohio State to their lowest point total so far this season. But moving on, Texas Tech smashed West Virginia 48-10. Tulane beat Memphis 38-28. Wake Forest buried Boston College 43-15. But let's get to this big game, UCLA at Oregon. If you didn't know, both teams had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. Oregon came prepared. They just looked much better offensively, defensively, schematically. They just came ready to play. And in hindsight, this was UCLA's first real big road test, because for most of the season, they've been playing in front of just 100 people. At half, it was 31-13. Going into the fourth, 38-16. This game was never really close. Bo Nix had a nice day, 22 of 28, 283, 5 touchdowns. Marquise Irving, 19 carries, 107 yards. Noah Whittington, 12 carries, 73 yards. Bo Nix, 8 carries, 51 yards. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, 27 of 39, 262, 2 touchdowns and interception. Zach Charbonnet, 20 carries, 151. This was an interesting game. UCLA and Oregon are both very good teams. Obviously, Oregon has looked much better since the drumming to Georgia in week 1. UCLA obviously beat Utah, who's a very good team. Hey, Oregon just came ready to play, and that was it. Very good win for Oregon. They got Cal coming up, then Colorado, Washington. They do host Utah, then finish off with Oregon State. Oregon, they're in a pretty good spot right now. Another big game was Texas at Oklahoma State. Not a pretty game for Quinn Ewers. 19 of 49, 319, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Spencer Sanders had to go Superman, 34 of 57, 391, 2 touchdowns and interception. But really, a lot of the credit has to be given to this Oklahoma State defense. They held Texas to 3 points in the second half. Also, coming up huge on some of those interceptions. Oklahoma State is tough, but that TCU rematch starting to look more likely. Wisconsin beat Purdue 35-24. Purdue did. Purdue didn't want to go to the conference championship game. Oh well. LSU beat Ole Miss 45-20. Stanford got another win, 15-14 over Arizona State. Alabama handled Mississippi State 30-6. TCU beat Kansas State 38-28. Another great win for TCU. They're on a small little run right now, beating Oklahoma, Kansas, Oklahoma State, Kansas State. They got West Virginia this week, then Texas Tech, Texas, Baylor, and then finish off with Iowa State. It's going to be tough for this TCU team to go undefeated. A lot of good offenses and some pretty good defenses coming up. But moving on to some of my takeaways, Oregon has a pretty good shot at winning the Pac-12. When you play UCLA and Utah both at home, you got a pretty good shot. Outside of that game, all you got is Cal, Colorado, Washington, and Oregon State. Winnable. Obviously, there's still a lot of football left to play, but we'll see what happens. And my last takeaway is, this is probably one of the most competitive years of college football that we've seen in a while. You got TCU, Oklahoma State, Texas, Oregon, UCLA, Wake Forest, Tulane, LSU, Ole Miss, Wisconsin, Purdue. But moving on to week 9, Thursday we got some good matchups. Utah plays Washington State, Virginia Tech, NC State, Louisiana, Southern Miss. On Friday we got ECU and BYU, Louisiana Tech, FIU. Saturday we have some good matchups. Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame at Syracuse, Cincinnati at UCF, Oklahoma State at Kansas State, Ole Miss at Texas A&M, and Kentucky at Tennessee. We got some good games coming up this weekend. That looks like it'll wrap it up for me, guys. Thanks for watching. Go check out the TikTok, Instagram, and subscribe to the YouTube. I appreciate it. I'll see y'all next week.